me.
Just before this, we had done a warm-up led by some members of our armed forces, so I was nice and warmed up and ready to go. Little nervous. I could feel it in my body. Went ahead, and when we started running, I was making sure that I was at my pace. There was a lot of water to walk through, and let me tell you, there were so many people on the course that there was plenty of times when, you know, we were going pretty fast, and all of a sudden we had to come to an almost complete standstill because there was just so many people and not enough space for us to get through. This event, the wall where you have to go sideways and there's like the chain and the rock hold and the other stuff, it was a lot slipperier this time, so I was really hard to hold on to. I actually ended up having to have my feet dangle and do this one, so I almost fell at the very end there, but I was able to get it at the last second. There were 3 sets of barbed wire in this race, and I had to roll in the first 2 because I didn't want to crawl. It was just going to take forever. So I rolled the whole way, and I cannot tell you how dizzy I was at the end of that section. You see these guys here in purple here, they are doing the Ultra. They've been out there since 6:30 in the morning. So this obstacle here, last time I wasn't able to complete it because it was too slippery and I couldn't hold on to the rope. But this time it was just fine. I just hand over hand the whole time. There's a lot of people having to use their body weight to help pull it down. I didn't really care. I was just pulling it. The spear throw. My absolute nemesis. I am terrible at throwing things. I've never been good at baseball, never been good at basketball, and I'm not good at throwing this spear. Burpees, it's the only thing I missed. Sandbag carry. This was a pretty long course. The sandbag was not terribly heavy, but because of the mud and the long stretch of course here, it was kind of hard. This spot sucked. I really wish they had some sort of like fast track for people who are really good at climbing and be like, hey, if you're going to get over this really quickly, you can go here, because I literally stood there for 3 minutes or 4 minutes just standing there. So, you know, everybody else there was a bunch of people that had trouble with it, but, you know, I was with some guys that were pretty fast at it, so we got over pretty quickly. And then you can see me turning off the GoPro there. This guy handed me a log. I started going the wrong direction, and so I ended up going the appropriate direction here. The log was actually not that heavy. I was honestly pretty surprised. When he handed it to me, I thought it was going to be pretty heavy. This next section of cargo net here, just a nice easy climb up and over, not a big deal at all. I'm honestly very surprised at how many people were doing the Ultra, and I can't imagine how sore they were the next day. You could, at this point in the race, the people in the purple jerseys are absolutely hating themselves. All right, this section here, kill the monkey bars, kill the wall, killed the Z-wall, and then we ended up getting into this water that was super, super cold, and every time you started to get warmed up, it's like you went right back into the cold, and it was like, ah! And then this wall was pretty great, but for some reason the GoPro didn't get the footage of me climbing it. Okay, so we're coming up towards the end here, and I'm recognizing that I'm about to get into this water here, and so I throw my bag over to my dad and prep myself to get in the water. I can tell it's going to be bad as soon as I put my feet in. It is very cold. I am not looking forward to going under that water. I have managed to stay mostly dry in my top half for the whole race, and you can see me visibly recoil at how cold it is. And there's this guy with me, and I say, okay, we're going to go 3, 2, 1, and he's like, nope. So I went without him. And when I came up on the other side, my breath like was so caught. I could barely breathe. It was so cold. Well, I ended up climbing out, and you can see the GoPro's very, very dirty because I had to go completely underneath. And a lot of people skipped that portion of the race, but did not do burpees, and that was very upsetting to me. Jumped over the fire, had a good old time, and then this happened.
Is he coming? Vince, he here yet?
Yeah, I missed him.
Oh, he went over already?
Yeah, he was just right there.
I was perfectly fine until that last dunk. It was
Ultra Beast aged it just a few
I was
moments.
standing right there when you went 3, 2, 1 with the dude. You went under the water. I followed you out, then you just freaking disappeared. I'm like, how did he get ahead of me?
I don't know. I have no idea. I looked around. I couldn't see him.
Because I grabbed your bag. You went under the water. I went and grabbed your bag, came back, and you were gone.
No idea. We are in a Hardee's, and I am not dying. I had a few more gels this time, and honestly, I was actually pretty surprised at how I performed on the Beast. I actually came in under time, what I thought I was going to do, even though it was actually a longer race. I thought it was only going to be 13 miles, but it was like close to 14. It might have been a little bit more than 14. And
it was just 14 plus, they said. When they ran.
So yeah, I was actually really surprised with my that I came in under the time that I thought I was going to have if it was a 13 mile. So cool. So all of the training that I did pay off. I did what I set out to do, and new training cycle, like I said, starts Monday.
Very good. You did awesome, son.
So does somebody want to talk about the crazy thing that happened after the race?
Oh, yeah. Something crazy always seems to happen after races. Okay, so if you've been on the channel for any length of time, you know this is my dad.
Steven literally disappeared after the last obstacle.
Okay, yeah. So I jumped over the fire, went through everything, and I just didn't see him. So like I'm looking around, don't see him, and then I try to go somewhere else to maybe see where he is, and I'm really cold because one of the last obstacles is just like go completely underwater, and it's super, super cold, and the sun's starting to go down, and I'm starting to shake and stuff. It probably could have stayed in one place, and that would have gotten me found sooner, but I was too cold to stay in one place, so I wandered around. I went to the place where I went to the starting area, and then I went to the entrance, and then I went to a place over by the changing place that had a fire, and I sat almost in the fire because I was real cold. And then after a while, they had to call my name over the loudspeaker like a child lost at the grocery store. So, yeah.
It's kind of how we dealt with it. So Steven's dad and I were just walking around the finish area waiting for him to show up. We checked the bathroom several times. We checked the finish line again. We come back and forth from there. And finally I said, well, what if we just, there's a lost and found right over there. Why don't we just ask them, because they got a DJ there, he's got a microphone. Why don't we just ask them, hey, could you call out for this racer that we lost? So Steven's dad, then he comes over, he goes up there, and says, hey, here, go ahead, point at you here.
Well, I told the gentleman, I said, my son, I lost track of him. I said, I can't find him, he's gone for an awful long time, I need to know that he's okay, could you call his name? He said, we're not allowed to do that. I said, okay. I literally walked away. Within 5 steps, he calls out somebody's name that you're looking for.
So I get very upset about this. I walk, well, obviously he did too, but I go up there and I said, I told him, what the hell, man? You just said you don't do that. What's up with that? He said, oh, well, we do that for special circumstances. And I said, well, our racer has hypoglycemia. And the guy says, oh, food. The guy did not say, oh, food. Thank you. I think that's yours, man.
No, that's the Frisco.
Oh, did I order the Frisco?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
These are no cheese, right, man?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
So anyway, I tell them, I say, he's got hypoglycemia, and the guy up there says, what's hypoglycemia?
He sure did.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're a volunteer. Okay, fine. It's what happens when your sugar crashes, very easily. And he says, well, what would be happening if that happened to him? I said, he'd be like lying down somewhere, or he'd be wandering around unsure what was going on. He said, well, go check the medical tents. I said, no, call him. And so Vince comes over and we start talking with their superior, and finally they go ahead and call out, Stephen Ross, please report to the main stage. And that's when Stephen showed up.
All right, go ahead
I
and
was
talk.
very cold. I didn't want to do anything except be warm, and so I'm glad that they finally found me. And I ended up taking off the wet shirt that I had on and put on dry clothes. And then I realized that the wet shirt that I had on, the base layer and the overshirt, weighed like 5 pounds with mud and water in it. It was ridiculous. I have no idea how much. So I was carrying a hydration pack, and then my clothes that were covered in mud. I probably weighed 15 pounds more than normal.
I'd say so. Yeah, right.
So yeah.
But you are now officially a Trifecta champion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, that's not like the biggest thing in the world. There's people that are doing like their 3rd Trifecta this year.
Well, no,
And,
but you've done all 3 of these races in the past, but this is the first time it's been in the same year, which is what really counts.
So there's people doing the ultra there that were there from like 6:30 in the morning. It was like it was at least 26.2 miles. They said it might have been 30, but the point is they were going for a long time.
Anyway, you should probably eat,
Some of
man.
them 8 hours.
Go eat.
If you guys want to get access to our new training boot camp, there's a link in the description where you can get access to that. Check it out. It's cool. Get it. Oh, it's free.
And special thanks to these patrons who support Real Anime Training on Patreon.